You just have to know where the buttons is. The buttons is.
You just need to know where the button is.
The good news is the good news is the good news is
What's up?
the good news is it doesn't help when you laugh. Completely within your control. The good news is that you Hello, adventure. So in today's episode, we're going to talk about Facebook privacy settings, which are super important because I want you to feel safe, I want to protect you, at the same time I want you to share your adventure with the entire world. The good news is those settings are completely within your control. You just have to know where the buttons are. So let's start exploring. First, we have to get to the privacy settings. Go here in the upper right-hand corner. This is where you have privacy shortcuts. So I'm going to go to privacy shortcuts. So the first thing that you want to do is, hey, who can see my stuff? That's kind of important. Now, here are the different options for me. So who can see my future posts? Now, this is an important idea. This is a default setting. So when you go to post in the future, you can always manually override and pick who can do this. And then where do I review who can see things that I've posted or been tagged? This will be a future video all by itself. So who can send me messages? Now, I have basic filtering here. This is what is recommended, but I can also go to strict filtering on whose messages do I want to have filtered into my inbox. That's when they're sending messages. Then, who can send me friend requests? I have set it to everyone, but again, you could also say, I just only want friends of a friend. Then how do I stop somebody from bothering me? You can add people that you can have blocked. Now, I don't have any blocked users, but if I wanted to, I would put their name in here and then just hit block. This is what they would call the privacy shortcuts. Those are the basics. A lot of people don't even check up on those things. So if you're on your desktop, it's going to be in the upper right-hand corner. Now, if you're using this on your smartphone, the place to get to those settings is over here under More, and you're going to scroll all the way to Privacy Shortcuts. That's how you get to it, maybe on your smartphone. As well as later, when we talk about more settings, you'll go over here, and in Privacy and Timeline and Tagging, that's where you'd find it on your smartphone. We'll be over on the tablet. Now I want to go, and I'm going to go to More Settings. Okay, now, these enter into all of your settings. I want to show you. I'm going to go to Privacy. Limit the audience for a post you've shared with friends or public. This is a really interesting button. Let's say that you realize, because Facebook changes its settings from time to time, a lot of times, by default, you were sharing things with the public and didn't know about it. But let's say you wanted to say, now I only want this with friends. This allows you to retroactively go back and change all those settings to just friends. It does everything though, you can't pick and choose. Then again, who can see, send me friend requests, I have everyone. Who can look me up? Who can look you up using your email address? I set it to everyone, and who can look you up using your phone number? Everyone. So my thought is, hey, if you have my email in the past or you have my phone number, I want you to be able to connect with me. A lot of times this might be set for friends of friends, and somebody might not be finding you that you gave your cell phone number to and you'd want to connect with. And then do I want search engines? So for me, I do. I want them to see my public posts. But for people who want to keep everything on lockdown, you're going to want to make sure that if you have a public post out there, search engines will be able to find it. In the privacy shortcut, it covers most everything you're going to need. That gives you just a little bit more detail and helps you with that. So the first thing is, who can post to your timeline? I'm going to allow my friends. Now, if you're not a friend, it doesn't allow you to do that. Unfortunately, that's posting. Anybody, if you allow them, can tag you in a post, and that would show up there. Then review posts friends tag even before they appear in your timeline. So let's say that somebody mentions me by tagging me in that post. Well, this allows me to be able to review that before it shows up on my timeline. I always want that on. Who can see posts you've been tagged into your timeline? Now, this is, let's say that somebody, Jeremiah, is tagging me in a post. I can decide is who can see that. I don't necessarily want everyone to be able to see that, but I don't mind if friends of my friends see that, but I can adjust what I want. Then, who can see what others post on your timeline? This is where, again, you can dial that up or dial that down. Review tags people add to your own post before they tag or appear on Facebook. I put on a post, and then somebody in a comment wants to tag Jeremiah in it, and somebody says, oh, hey, my friend Logan would love to see this, so they would tag him in that so he would be able to see my post. This allows you to say, hey, I want to review that before somebody goes and starts inviting other people to things. When you're tagged in a post, who do you want to add to the audience if they're not already in it? This is where I say, hey, my friends. What I'm going to do is put only me on that. What that just did is that if I'm tagged in a post, all my friends will be able to start to see that. And then who sees tag suggestions? And what that is that if there's an image and it can recognize my face from that through facial recognition, it's going to say, hey, do you want to tag Jeremiah in this? Because that looks like Jeremiah. I say yes because I think it's helpful, but a lot of people will want to turn that to only me. So there you have it. Those are just the more of the advanced settings. I'll show you two more things really quick. So if I go to About Me, so let's say that I go into the About Us section and I can go into my profile. This is what's cool here is let's say that I don't want people to know where I live. This is, do I want this public or do I just want my friends? So I don't want the information to go out to anybody. So if you're saying, hey, I want to keep my Facebook account really locked down, well, but the problem is, by default, even though that all your posts are locked down, it doesn't mean where you live and all those other things are. So if you'd want to, that's where you can say, you know, I only want my friends to know where I live. Any of the sections in About, you can do that there. So I'm going to write a post. So now that I have my settings, and we showed you how to dial people up and down by default on how they show up in your timeline and put them into those different groupings and how to create lists, this is where if I'm doing a post, I just want to point out, see, by default, it's public because that's my default setting. I can just say, hey, I want it friends, or I want it friends except acquaintances, because, so if I set my settings up right to begin with, that's pretty important to be able to do. Then I can even say, hey, I only want this post to go to just a few of my friends. Or I want to say, hey, I want it to go to all my friends except I don't want it to go to people that are in social timeout. It's really cool that you can really set who can see that and who can I remove from that post to really dial that in. So you see, once you understand where all those buttons are, you have complete control over this. And you're super smart, so you just need to know where those were. So your next step is to go and start to make those decisions. Go first to those privacy shortcuts and answer some of those questions. And go through and then decide the next time you post who gets to see all of this. Just if you're a little bit more thoughtful of who you let in and what you put out there, that's going to make a huge difference. So you have some important decisions to make. Decide who you're going to let in on your adventure because it begins right now.